When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can seem intense. Like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to Geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello folks, this is Chris Daly, and it's always a great pleasure to bring you great Jamaicans who are doing magnificent stuff. And tonight we have a special person for you. He is a novelist, a male novelist, Darren Hogarth. He's actually a trained engineer, mechanical engineer. He's done various roles within the automotive industry in Canada for the past decade. But now, after he's been great at storytelling, decided to change that into a new pattern of hobby or career. And he's written his first novel, Whatever Sticks Most, which is inspired by his undying wish to somehow express a male perspective on love, spirituality, and the importance of balance. He resides in Oakville, or Ontario, and to do the interview this evening is my partner, Denise Maxwell. Denise, take it away.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Denise. How are you? Good. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. We really appreciate you spending some time with us. So, Darren, share a little about your family roots.
Well, I was born in Canada. My folks are Jamaican. They were up here studying university in the late 60s, early 70s, and they moved back to Jamaica when I was 2 years old, along with my older sister. They still live in Jamaica right now. I came back when I was 17 years old to finish up high school and do university. So my entire family still lives in Jamaica. I visit once a year, sometimes twice a year.
Ah, I see. Were there family members or other writers that encouraged you to start this writing career?
Other writers, I would say. I'm inspired by the likes of Lawrence Hill, Paulo Coelho, Maya Angelou, Barack Obama, John Grisham. I've always been into storytelling, and if you're interested in stories and books, then you end up reading, so you get inspired by other writers.
Mm-hmm. I see. When one thinks you're an engineer by trade, so usually when one thinks of an engineer, they think of calculus or some of the other sciences. That's what comes to people's minds. But not crafting words into paragraphs. So what inspired you to this love or this new love, since this is your first novel?
Well, it's by no means a new love. It's a love I've always had. But being scientific minded, I guess, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not creative. People with creative minds can typically take on careers of various different types. And the science is also a good example of that would be Khalid Hosseini, who wrote The Kite Runner. He's actually a physician and very scientific, but he's also turned out to be a fantastic storyteller. So being creative is something that you sort of have inside, but whether or not you choose to put it to work is up to you. I chose to put it to work because it's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always been a very expressive person, and I've always liked to tell stories and write stories. So I figured, why not weave it into a book? Put it to work.
It's interesting about Khalid. I thought it was based on his life. I didn't realize that was a novel. Okay. Well, what would you say to those who want to become a writer, as preparing to become a writer anyway? What would you say to the people listening?
Well, read a lot. Reading is very important if you want to write. It's very important to expose yourself to various different writers, both male and female. It helps with your storytelling, your prose. and your approach to writing. It's good to go to local writers' conferences or workshops if they're available, and book clubs. That way you can discuss books and see, how people feel about different stories, how it impacts them, what they take from it, and what they're searching for. It's also important to study the market for a bit to see, what sells, what genres are hot, and to decide for yourself what genre you fit into. It's very important because, say, for instance, there are a lot of readers who love, the supernatural, stories about vampires and wizards and hobbits and stuff, and they're great stories, but, that's not my forte. I've chosen to write within my genre, which is, fiction based on reality. So read a lot, expose yourself, and study the craft, and don't be afraid to put something out there when you feel that you have something inside that people would love to hear or read.
Yeah. So, it's interesting you should mention a part about specific genres, some to crime or science fiction, like you were saying. But help us to understand your choice for this particular novel.
Well, I've always been told that, I have very good wisdom, and I'm good at inspiring people. So I figured it would be good for my first book to write a story with good inspiration in it, things that people can take with them and move forward in life. People always have questions about how to, get the most out of their life or how to squeeze the juice out of their life. And I've always found that I like those sort of conversations because, not only can you, draw from people and understand what they do to move themselves forward, but you can also impart your countenance onto them. So I wanted to write a story that wasn't just a story that is compelling and that people would be interested in reading to entertain themselves, but also something that they could, learn from, something that they could take and remember.
So this a novel is a specific type of book to communicate an idea. So what inspired you to use this style?
Well, writing in the first person is a good way to help people identify with a main character. The second novel that I'm writing right now is more of a narrative where I'm the storyteller, where you have a lot more autonomy throughout the story. You control everybody's emotions. You know exactly why they're thinking and why, and what they're going to do next and why. Whereas if you write through the first person, it seems more believable. It seems true. It makes people feel that this is a story that actually happens. It feels like it's a bit of a memoir in somebody's life.
That's why it's funny you should say it, because when you mentioned the Kuiper, that's when I thought it was. I thought it was a memoir. I didn't realize.
A lot of people have asked if it's actually my story, and it isn't. I didn't find that my personal story was compelling enough or sensational enough to put into a book. Not that I have a boring life, but I figured if I was going to tell a story, I'd take some things that are parallel with my life, but also spice it up with the experiences of others. And writing. Pardon me?
I was saying the cover of the book is a communicator door to engage the reader. Describe how you designed this cover.
Well,
I see like a balance, and I see the heart.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different symbols going on there. I wanted something eye-catching, first of all, something that was vibrant, and I also wanted a cover that would make people think. It's by no means something that you would take and put as a painting in your home, but I wanted something that would catch people's eyes and also make them think, okay, what is this about? Because from afar you can see that it looks like the continent Africa. It looks like the Earth. But then up close you can see that it's actually a human heart. So it's really supposed to symbolize that man and woman have a common dwelling place on Earth and they have a common rhythm inside. But when their worlds intertwine, there comes a struggle of balancing it all out. Your love, your life, your career, everything. So it's really meant to be a cover to make you think and hopefully draw in those who are inquisitive.
So who do you think would benefit from your novel?
Well, the ideal demographic would be people between, I would say, I guess 25 to 45 or so. People in that sort of, not necessarily a midlife crisis, but in the time of their life where they're sort of searching for, who they should be or who they should become, or if they're trying to identify, if they're in the right place in life. And it's peppered with inspiration to help them, find ways to search to fulfill their potential and, enhance themselves in whatever way they feel that they can. There's a lot of spiritual messages in there too, so it really does go after people who are spiritually minded or searching for some sort of spirituality to, embrace, to bolster their life.
Yeah, that's true. The title, Whatever Sticks Most.
It does have a lot of messages in there, and that my hope was that people would not only get a story, but also have something that they could use to strengthen themselves.
Yeah, and for the title, Whatever Sticks Most,
yes.
It was suggested by the character Veronica, who
yes.
ends up with. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Besides being visually attractive to the book, what character did she possess to give him balance?
Well, Veronica wasn't really meant to include a message of balance. She was more of a breath of fresh air for the main character, Miles, to show him more of a type of woman who he's compatible with. A lot of times people are in relationships with someone who, they really aren't compatible with, but they're afraid to move on because, they don't want to be alone, or, breaking up is never easy to do. Not that I'm encouraging everybody to go and break up with their lover if things aren't good. There's always ways to work things out, but it was basically a way to sort of give him a path of forgiveness, to show himself that, even though his past relationship didn't work out, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was all his fault. He was definitely to blame with his neglect towards his previous girlfriend. But a lot of that was to do with him just not being compatible with Tiraya, his girlfriend before Veronica. And, also to show that a lot of times when people are imbalanced or they sort of focus too much on one thing, particularly a job, it's a lot because, can be a lot because, they might not necessarily be happy in their relationship, so they look for another way to escape and throw themselves into something that they really enjoy, they're good at. So she was sort of, a nice cool breeze for him to say, it's okay, these things happen, but, there's always a new beginning.
Yeah. When Dr. Burke physically examined Miles, she talked about muscles not being exercised to give the body an overall balance. And that could be applied to Miles' personality. He did not experience all parts of him, which is why he was lacking. And unfortunately, many men define themselves through their jobs and not other parts of their lives, thus creating a balance.
Very true, very true. Miles certainly was not a very balanced man. I intentionally made him very self-centered and a bit cynical to emphasize his need for balance. But the theme in the story of his physical ailment was to sort of stress that over and above psychological and mental and spiritual balance, we have to focus on, our bodies. And exercising, there is a right and a wrong way to do it, and without going about it the right way and ensuring that you balance, your pectoral and your pelvic girdles and making sure that, all your ligaments and tendons are, with the right strength and flexibility, that, you can create an imbalance in your body, and with an imbalance in your body, you can end up in pain. And when you're in pain, that can affect your mind. Like your mind affects your body affects your mind. So there's a connection there. So it was sort of to emphasize that it's not only important to do the things and expose yourself and practice a life to maintain a balanced mind and a balanced spirituality and balanced emotions, but also to take care of your body, because that does affect how you balance your life.
Quite true. Explain your emphasis on balance, because the scale from the front of the book is balanced. That he's not very spiritually. He was off balance. His back is out, and that wasn't balanced. Why has balance been ignored by so many people?
Well, I don't think people intentionally ignore balance. It's something that I guess they don't really realize that they have to focus on until life shows them how imbalanced that they are. Growing up, one of my dad's constant chants was, everything in moderation. He drilled it into my head that how important it was not just to balance, my enjoyment of sports and activities, but to feed my brain, to, expose myself to, the arts, the sciences, to read. And personally, I have, seen the benefits of that, of, not necessarily achieving balance, because it's very difficult to achieve complete balance in your life, but it's very, very worth it to go after it. In trying to balance your life, you find that, you live a more fulfilling life. But it's unfortunately something that people notice when their life, goes awry or things aren't working out well. Yeah,
that's true. And then when you're balanced, if one thing's off kilter, you have other things going for you to kind of even it out. So how would folks get a copy of this fine work of yours?
On Amazon, both the paperback and the ebook version are on Amazon.com or Amazon.uk. Pretty much every Amazon in Europe. I'm trying to get it available in bookstores, but that takes a bit of time. As a self-published author, it's tough to get the recognition to have bookstores stock your work. But for now, Amazon.com would be the best way to get an e-copy or have it delivered to your door.
Any final wisdoms would you like to share with the public?
Sure. I would say follow your dreams. Follow your dreams. Dreams can never ever be compromised. Dreams are in our minds for a reason. They're indications of what we should really go after. And if you don't, chances are you'll end up at a later stage of your life with your dreams haunting you and sometimes filling you with resentment for not going after them. It's many people don't chase their dreams because of fear of success, and sometimes fear of failure. And sometimes it takes reinventing yourself, and if that's what it takes, go after it. You only have one life to live, so create your heaven on earth by following your dreams. You have nothing to lose. If it takes a bit of money, then you can always make back money. But chase your dreams. That would be my words of inspiration.
I see. So to learn more about Chris Daly, visit Let's Get Mobile and Social. To learn about Jamaican Diaspora, visit Jamaican Diaspora. And Darren has a website, DarrenHogarth.com. Darren, thanks for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, too. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I really appreciate the invitation to come on your show.
Okay, bye now.
Okay, take care.
Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flo.
When Flo flows, she flows in the know. Minds ruminate the rate. Shown them all, I heed the call. Seeing the rest, I choose the best. Sometimes it's ours, sometimes it's not. When the fox walks, is it called a fox trot? That's a real question.
Compare Progressive direct rates with top competitors' rates. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When I listen to Audible, I'm not riding the L train during rush hour. I'm hunting whales with the crew of the Pequod. I can feel the cold air in my face and the icy spray of the Atlantic crashing against the bow. The smell of rotting blubber fills my nostrils. There she blows, boys! Dead ahead! It's the White Whale! This is my stop. Excuse me. Pardon me. Sorry.
Go to audible.com/starttrial and your first download is free. Audible. Stories that surround you.